Once upon a time, in the bustling town of Meadowville, there lived a notorious thief named Sammy Slick. Sammy was as sly as a fox and could sneak into any place without being noticed. He wore a little black hat and always carried a tiny bag to stash whatever he fancied. One sunny morning, as children played in the park and mothers chatted by the fountain, Sammy noticed something different. A little bird with a golden key tied around its neck fluttered by. Curious, Sammy followed the bird as it chirped and flew over rooftops. The bird led him to a quaint cottage at the edge of the woods. The door to the cottage was slightly open. Inside, Sammy discovered a room filled with treasures of all kinds: golden coins, sparkling jewels, and paintings that shimmered in the light. Yet, in the middle of it all sat an old woman, knitting by the fireplace, humming a sweet tune. Sammy, being the expert thief he was, knew this was an opportunity not to be missed. But just as he reached for a glistening ruby, he heard a soft cough. "Oh dear!" exclaimed the old woman. She squinted, catching sight of Sammy hiding behind a shelf. "Who might you be, young one?" she asked kindly. Sammy hesitated, but then decided to speak up. "I'm Sammy," he said nervously. I was just admiring your beautiful things." The old woman smiled warmly. "Well, Sammy, you must stay for tea. It's not every day that I get a visitor," she said, gesturing to a chair. Unsure why, but feeling a tug at his heart, Sammy accepted. As they sipped tea and munched on warm cookies, the old woman shared stories of how she'd collected such treasures through the good deeds she'd done all over the world. "You see, Sammy," she said with a twinkle in her eye, "true wealth isn't in the gold, jewels, or paintings. It's in kindness, helping others, and the memories we create." For the first time, Sammy felt something he hadn't felt in a long time: contentment. As the afternoon wore on, Sammy found himself in a peculiar predicament. He didn't want to steal anymore. Instead, he wanted to do something kind. The next day, back in the town, Sammy started his new journey by helping Mrs. Puckle, the librarian, with her heavy books. He assisted Mr. Jenk, the baker, in delivering bread to the elderly. Soon the townspeople saw a change in Sammy. Weeks later, as Meadowville bustled with life, Sammy was no longer known as a notorious thief, but as the kindest soul in town. His little black hat and tiny bag were now filled with notes of gratitude. The townsfolk gave him trinkets as thanks. And so, the once infamous Sammy Slick learned that the true treasure lay in the joy of giving and sharing happiness. The moral of the story is clear: make life rich by filling it with kindness for others. From then on, Sammy visited the old woman by the woods regularly, not only to share the stories of his good deeds, but also to listen to more of her wise tales. And they lived happily ever after, spreading kindness wherever they went.